Assalamu alaikum students. Today our lecture is related to quantization basics. It is covering CLO1 and CLO2 and it is 6.2.1 topic of the textbook. The list of contents which we will be covering today is enlisted here. It deals with quantization, then signal to quantization noise. After that we will study quantization types, and then we will end our lecture by discussing different types of compending. So let's start our today's lecture. If we talk about quantization, then we should know that how sampler and quantization works on our signal. In start we have analog signal, and we assume that this analog signal is continuous on time axis and continuous on amplitude axis. So it means this analog signal is continuous on both x-axis and y-axis. When this analog signal x of t passes through sampler, it is converted into discrete time signal. Now at this stage the signal has discrete values on time axis, whereas on the amplitude axis it has continuous values. After that this signal passes through quantization, and now not only the time is in discrete domain, but amplitude axis is also in discrete domain. So this is how quantization block works, that it converts the a continuous amplitude into discrete amplitude. So if we assume that the analog signal is x of t is equal to sine 2 pi ft, then the value of t can be anything. It can be continuous in nature. Now but if the signal is converted into discrete signal after sampling, and this x of n can be written as and this x of t can be written as x of n, then the value of n will only be integer. So this is the difference between analog signal and discrete time signal. Now the next major step in PCM is quantization. So how to do quantization? In quantization, as we have discussed previously, that we divide the complete amplitude axis into different quantization levels. So here we have divided the signal into 4 quantization levels. So the first quantization level is -1, and then -0.5, 0 and 0.5. so these are basically 4 different quantization levels. And now the next question is how many bits are required for each sample. So according to the formula, L is equal to 2 raised to power n. So here L is 4, then 2 number of bits are required for each sample. Now if let's start its quantization. The first sample is at 0, which is already at the quantization level, so it will remain there. The next sample, the amplitude of next sample is 0.5. it is again at quantization level, so it will remain there. The next sample, third sample, its amplitude is 1 volt, and the closest quantization level is 0.5. so we will round off this amplitude to 0.5. Similar is the case with this fourth sample. Here we will again round it off to 0.5, and then for this sample we will round it off to -0.5, and then for this it will remain at -1, and for this last sample, since it is in between 2 quantization levels, so you can either move it to -0.5 or you can move it to -1. So the quantization levels are -1, -0.5, 0 and 0.5. And since we are using 4 quantization levels, so 2 number of bits are required to represent each sample. Next is this step size delta. We will study its formula on the next slide, but for now delta is basically a highest peak minus lowest peak. So highest peak here is 1 volt and the lowest peak is -1 volt. So 1 minus -1 will be equal to 2, and at the denominator we have quantization levels which is equal to 4, so step size will be equal to 1 by 2. So these are some of the important formulas related to quantization. One is bit depth. Bit depth is representing with n, and it is number of bits per sample. Next formula is number of quantization levels. We can calculate the number of quantization levels. L is equal to 2 raised to power n. So n is the number of bits per sample. Then the next formula is step size. Here the step size delta is equal to x max minus x min over L. X max is the maximum amplitude of signal x of t, and x min is the minimum amplitude of signal x of t. Then the next formula is quantization error. Quantization error is calculating on the basis of current quantized voltage minus sample value. So if xq is the quantized voltage and x is the sampled value, then we can say that QE is equal to xq minus x, and it should be remembered that error is always considered positive. So on the basis of signal which is given previously, if we have sample value 0, 0.5, 1, 0.75 and 0, we are quantizing it to a new values. So 0 sample will remain at 0, 0.5 will remain at 0.5 because they are already on the quantization levels. However, for 1 the closest quantization level is 0.5, so its amplitude will be reduced, and then 0 for 0.75 it's again its amplitude is reduced and it becomes 0.5. For encoder, since we are using the 4 levels, so the number of bits per second will be 2. Then for 0 a quantization error, to calculate quantization error, quantized value minus sample value will be calculated. 0 minus 0 will be equal to 0, then 0.5 minus 0.5 is equal to 0. So in this way we will find the quantized error. And then for encoder, this 0 will be encoding with 0 0, so in this way 0.5 will be encoding 0.1, 0.5 0 1, 0.5 0 1, and 0 would be equal to either 1 0 or 0 0. So in this way we will be quantizing our signal. We have already discussed this example in our previous lecture. So the important point here is we need to remember current sample values, then quantization values will be given to these samples on the basis of quantization levels. So first of all we will divide our signal into different quantization levels, and on the basis of these quantization levels we will calculate the number of bits per sample, and then those bits will be assigned to each quantization level. After that, sample values will be reduced or increased according to the quantization level, and after that different code numbers are assigned to these quantization values, and then binary code will be given to these values. So for encoding, we should know the relationship between quantization levels n and number of bits n, which is equal to n is equal to 2 raised to power n. So this is showing that how many bits are being allocated to each sample. Now if the digit is 0 and we are assigning binary equivalent 0 0 0 0, then the pulse code waveform will be -1. So here we are basically assigning -1 to all zeros, and here we are assigning +1 to 1 and -1 to 0. So in this way all of these binary bits will be assigned to these digits, and then on the basis of this we will be assigning different pulse code to these binary digits, which will be transmitted through the channel. So here we are starting a new topic which is basically related to quantization, and now we will calculate signal to quantization noise ratio, which is known as SQ&R. It is basically a ratio of signal power to quantization noise power. So if we assume that m of t is equal to am cos 2 pi fmt, then the signal power, we know that signal power is basically amplitude square over 2. So signal power will be am square over 2. Now before going further and to calculate the quantization noise power, we should know few basics. First of all, the quantization which we are assuming here is uniform quantization, because all levels are at equal distance from one another. So uniform quantization is considered here. Then the next step which we should know is that probability density function of uniformly distributed random variable is denoted by this formula, and its figure is like this. Here we have a signal which is uniformly distributed, and it is starting from A and ending at B. The amplitude of this rect is 1 over B minus A. Now the area, we know that the uniformly distributed random variable has area equal to 1. So if we calculate its area, it will be height into width. So if the width is B minus A, then its height is 1 over B minus A. That's why the overall area is equal to 1. So the PDF of such function can be written as 1 over b minus a, and this 1 over b minus a is present when the x ranges from a to b. Otherwise this function is 0. So this is basically the graphical representation of PDF, and in mathematical form we can write it fx of x. So this is basically the representation or symbol for PDF, and it is defined as 1 over b minus a between range a to b. Otherwise this PDF is 0. Now the question is why quantization error is considering a random variable. It is because the noise or area is random in nature. We can't determine noise at any instant, so we consider that noise is a random variable, so it will be defined as a stochastic random process. Instead of taking it as a definite value, we are considering it random in nature. So if we assume that quantization error is basically ranging from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2, what we have done, we have basically shifted our rect signal towards left in such a way that half of this rect is on the positive side and other half is on the negative side. And now we can say that the total width of this rect is pi, and so this pi by 2 minus pi by 2 will be the total width, which is equal to delta. So we can say that quantization error is also uniformly distributed over a range minus delta by 2 to delta by 2, and we know that we are talking about uniform distribution, so the total area is equal to 1. So when total area will be equal to 1 and the total width is delta, then total height will definitely be equal to 1 over delta. So the total height will be 1 over delta, and we can say that PDF for quantization error is given with this formula: fq of q is equal to 1 over delta, which is the amplitude of this rect signal, and it is present between minus delta by 2 to delta by 2, otherwise its value is 0. Since quantization error is a random variable, so we will define it, or we will get to know about its property with the help of different features like mean, variance. So let's start with mean. So first of all, we have to calculate the mean of quantization error. We know that the mean of any signal x can be calculated like this: e of x is equal to minus infinity to infinity x into f of x dx. So here x is the signal for which we are calculating the mean, then f of x is the PDF of that signal. So basic formula for mean of any function is x. So here x is can be any function, and f of x is the PDF of this function. If we integrate it, then we get the mean of quantization error. Now we will apply the same formula for quantization error. So our function will be q. We know that our quantization error is q, and f of q will be PDF for this quantization error. This signal is present between the minus delta by 2 to delta by 2, so we can adjust the integration limits like this, and E of q will be the estimation or mean of quantization error. When we calculate this or solve this integration, then after putting values we get to know that E of q is equal to 0, and this basically helps deduce the same result which we have already studied, that any uniform distribution has zero mean, or noise is basically considered a uniform random variable. That's why we always assume that its mean is equal to 0. So it means now we will have to calculate the variance of quantization error. So now we will calculate the variance of quantization error since its mean is already 0. So for any random variable x, the mean is calculated. Estimation of x square is equal to minus infinity to infinity x square into f of x into dx. So here we are taking x square instead of x. So it means now for quantization error, the equation will be q square f of q into dq, and the integral limits are minus delta by 2 to delta by 2, and variance will be denoted as sigma q square. So after putting values and solving it, we get to know that the variance of quantization error is equal to sigma q square is equal to delta square over 12. Here delta is basically the step size. So now if we are considering that we have a sinusoidal signal whose maximum amplitude is am and minimum amplitude is minus am, then the value of delta can be calculated as Vmax minus Vmin over number of quantization levels, which are equal to 2 raised to power n. So Vmax is equal to am and Vmin is equal to minus am. So it means a step size will be equal to 2 am over 2 raised to power n. So we will use this result for our variance. Variance is equal to delta square over 12, so we can put the step size value 2 am over 2 raised to power n whole square into 1 over 12. So after calculations we get variance is equal to 1 over 3 into am square over 2 raised to power 2n. So the SNR can be written as signal power over noise power. So S is equal to am square over 2, and sigma q square is equal to am square over 3 into 2 raised to power 2, and we are basically multiplying it with this factor. After that, signal to noise ratio is equal to 3 over 2 into 2 raised to power 2n, and we can write it like this: s by 2 into L square. Since signal to noise ratio is usually represented in dB, so we can convert our formula like this. For that we will have to take the log of our signal to noise ratio. So it will become 10 into logs s by 2 into 2 raised to power 2, and we can apply log individually on these factors, and the plus sign will come in between them. After that, SNR and dBs will become 1.76 plus 6.02 n, or we can say SNR of dB is equal to 1.8 plus 6 into n. Here n is the number of bits per sample. So far we have studied quantization basics and how to calculate the signal to quantization noise ratio. Now we will start with types of quantization. We have two types. The first one is uniform quantization, where the step size delta remains constant throughout the input range, whereas for non-uniform quantization, step size delta varies according to the input signal values. So far we were studying uniform quantization. Now we will have a look at non-uniform quantization. In uniform quantization, quantizer has linear characteristics. Step size remains same throughout the range of quantizer. That is, over the complete range of input, maximum quantization error also remains same, because the quantization levels are at the equal distance from one another. Now if the quantizer characteristics are non-linear, then step size is not constant and quantization will be considered as non-uniform quantization. So step size is varying according to the amplitude of the input signal. How to achieve this non-uniform quantization? It is usually achieved with the help of compending. Non-uniform quantization is usually used for speech and music signals because in speech signals smaller amplitudes predominant and large amplitudes are very less. So most of the time the signal remains at the lower amplitude, and for a very few time instance our amplitude of the signal gets high. So SNR is directly proportional to signal power, which results in poor SNR for speech signal because in speech signal small amplitude is predominant. That's why when we will calculate the signal power it will be low, and as a result the SNR ratio will become low. So from this this is basically a music or speech signal. Most of the time it is its amplitude is low, whereas for very small interval its amplitude is getting high. So if we want to increase or improve the SNR ratio, then we have to perform non-uniform quantization, and quantization levels are assigned in such a way that these levels are very close to one another for smaller amplitude, whereas for large amplitudes the levels are getting at a distance at a bigger distance from one another. So it means here the quantizations level are close, but as we are moving upward the quantization levels are getting reduced. Similar and this all phenomena is basically done to improve the SNR ratio of our speech signal. Since we are performing non-uniform quantization and we know that delta is equal to 2x max over L, and this delta has a direct relation with quantization error. So when steps are small, when these step size deltas are small, for smaller amplitude the noise will be low. So it means at a low amplitude the power of noise is also getting reduced because of non-uniform quantization, and for high, when the signal amplitude is getting high, then no doubt noise will be high, but at the same time signal power is also high. So in this way we can compensate our SNR and we can improve it. But now the question is, how can we achieve non-uniform quantization? And the answer to this question is compending. With the help of compending we are able to perform non-uniform quantization. So compending is basically used to improve the SNR of weak signal, and we know that delta is when delta will be small then noise will be small. So compending is derived from two words. The first one is compression and the second one is expansion. So at the input side we will first perform compression, then we divide the amplitude into equal size of quantization levels, and after that we perform expansion. So the purpose of a compressor is that it amplifies low signal and attenuates strong signal. So if we assume that this linear characteristics is the ideal characteristics, then how does compressor works? For low amplitude it is basically amplifying the low signal, and then it will attenuate the strong signal. So as the signal is getting strong, we are basically attenuating our signal, and when the signal is weak we are amplifying it. The input output characteristic graph for expander is totally different from compressor. So here the weak signals, in start we have weak signals, so it will be attenuated, and then the signals, strong signals will be amplified. So in this way compressor and expander works. Two types of compressor are used. First one is two methods are known. First one is mu law and the other is A law. Mu law is very popular in USA and Japan, whereas A law is popular in Europe. So this is basically mu law. Here mu is a positive constant, and this STN is signum, which is positive when m is greater than 0 and minus 1 m is less than 1. And the other method is A law. Here MP is basically A is again a positive constant, and MP is the maximum amplitude of the signum, and STN is signum function. So this is all for quantization by basics. First we start with quantization definition and how we can perform quantization on any signal. After that we discuss the signal to quantization error ratio. We calculated it with the help of mean and variance. After that we studied different two types of quantization. The first one is uniform quantization and the other one is non-uniform quantization. So why do we perform non-uniform quantization? Because we want to increase the SNR ratio of our signal. And after that we studied two compression methods, which are mu law and A law. So this is all for today's lecture.